DreAllDay.com.
Before we start, please like and comment on this video so I can get your feedback. Also, click that subscribe button so you can get all the new content I'm dropping on this channel. And the free book, the mental handbook, physical book, Work on Your Game University, just take care of the shipping and handling, send this right to your doorstep. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We are back with the NBA season preview 2016-2017 season. The New Orleans Pelicans are the next team we're going to talk about. And I'm going to say right off the top that this team is a disappointment. I'm disappointed about this team for several reasons. First things first, looking at this roster, I did just hear, I'm recording this in early September, that Jrue Holiday is going to miss the start of the NBA season because his wife is having, I think, brain surgery that she has to have. So hopefully everything goes well with Jrue Holiday and his wife. So we're not even going to factor him into what this team is going to be when the NBA season begins, because who knows how much time he's going to miss. Who knows how that operation goes, but hopefully that goes great for his wife. Looking at the rest of this roster, let's first things first, let's talk about the coach. Why the hell did they hire Alvin Gentry as a coach? Why is Alvin Gentry coaching the New Orleans Pelicans? Here's my thing. When you have a young team with a lot of young talent that you want to mold into a contender, you can't keep hiring these retread coaches who have never had a high level of success as a coach. Alvin Gentry has coached several teams in the NBA. He's a known commodity. He's not a bad coach. He's not terrible. But what team has Alvin Gentry coached that they had wild successes? You were like, damn, Alvin Gentry. This guy, somebody got to get Alvin Gentry. He's a hot ticket. No, never. He's never been that guy. He's like a stopgap coach. Alvin Gentry's a guy you hire as an assistant, and if the head coach gets fired during the season, Alvin Gentry steps in, and then at the end of the season, Alvin Gentry get out that head coach seat. Let's go hire us a head coach and bring in his staff. You don't hire Alvin Gentry to coach a young team that's up and coming. You hire like an upstart coach, like a Brad Stevens, even somebody like Tom Thibodeau, because Tom Thibodeau's had high success. He's taken the team deep into the playoffs. You got to have a coach that's had some high success, or a young upstart guy who hasn't got a chance, like David Fitzdale in Minnesota, coming from Miami. Like I said, like a Brad Stevens coming from college. Even a Billy Donovan coming from college. Somebody who's like a young upstart guy, or somebody who's had success, more success than you expected with the roster they had, such as Frank Vogel going from Indiana to Orlando. But Alvin Gentry, why hire Alvin Gentry? Here's the problem with the New Orleans Pelicans right off the top. You got to go to the top of the organization. The ownership and the management of this team is complete shit. They are in shambles. And that's why the team has been terrible, because it's top down. Everything trickles down from the top. When the top of the organization is messed up, everything else gets messed up. So they hire the wrong people. They get the wrong players. They do the wrong draft picks. They sign the wrong free agents. And then you get the wrong results. And that's very disappointing for one very important reason. The one very important reason that makes this really, really disappointing is that Anthony Davis, at 23 years old, is one of the most talented players in the NBA. He's one of the most talented basketball players alive. Unfortunately, many fans, like ourselves, will not get to see the full Anthony Davis experience for two reasons. Number one, they're never going to be on TV because the team's trash. And number two, they're not going to be a contender. They're not going to make the playoffs to get on TV. Number three, Anthony Davis is surrounded by a roster that's not built around Anthony Davis. This team, every move this team makes, from the coach to the owners to the concession stand to the ball boys, should be built, to the players, of course, should be built around maximizing Anthony Davis. But they are doing everything but this. That's why this team is trash, and that's why this whole video is a disappointment. Just the fact that I'm even doing it, this team is trash. They got to make the organization is trash. Not even the team, it's the organization. Because if the organization was better, then the team would be a whole lot better. So let's look at what they do have. Let's just talk about what they do have instead of what they don't. All right, we already know what they don't. Alexis Anjika at center, good backup guy. Omer Asik. Remember when Omer Asik was like one of the hottest big guys in the league that year? Him and Joakim Noah teamed up in Minnesota, and then they had Taj Gibson, and they was doing their thing. But then Omer Asik, what was it? Omer Asik, I think, wanted to get traded when Pau Gasol came to Chicago. I think that's what happened. He asked for a trade, got traded, and Omer Asik has been a ghost ever since. He's been on the side of a milk carton ever since he got traded out of Chicago. He was doing his thing in Chicago and has not been much of a factor on any team he's played for since. So maybe he shouldn't have forced his way out of Chicago. Who knows? Norris Cole is a solid backup point guard. I don't think you're going too far if he's your starter. But as a backup, Norris Cole is a good backup. Dante Cunningham is a solid guy. I'm not going to name all these guys. All these guys are not guys you should be excited about if you're a fan of the team. Not to mean that there's anything wrong with them, but we talking about moving the needle here. That's the point. This team won 30 games last year. This team wants to go from winning 30 games to winning 40 games. You need impact players who are really going to make that difference. And impact does not necessarily mean talent. It means a player who's going to make an impact on that roster based on who they have already. And looking at this roster, let's point out the impact players. How about we do that? That'll make this a whole lot shorter. Anthony Davis is one. And wow. Are there any New Orleans fans watching this video? I would say I have bad news for you, but I don't even think this is bad news. I think you already know that this roster is nothing. There's nothing happening with this team. They signed Bob Sacre, so I think when Anthony Davis gets a highlight dunk, they're going to have great celebrations from the bench. Shout out to Bob Sacre. I don't think he's going to play much, is the bottom line. They got Bob Sacre, they got Omarisi, Alexis Anjica, and Kendrick Perkins as big men, so I don't see Robert Sacre even getting in the game. There's just too many big men. Maybe they'll get rid of some people in off-season or coming into training camp. Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins gets trashed a lot by casual NBA fans. Anytime somebody mentions Kendrick Perkins, usually they're going to trash Kendrick Perkins. Talk about how he shouldn't be getting the ball, how he don't have no post moves, how he only scores 2 points. And those things are actually all true. But Kendrick Perkins is I think he's a good veteran presence when he's around the right type of players. He's not a veteran presence who you just bring him in and all of a sudden he can change the whole culture just because he's there. He ain't no Kevin Garnett. But Kendrick Perkins is a great veteran presence when he's around the right type of guys with him. Like when he was in OKC, he was good for them because his presence helped bolster the confidence of like a Westbrook and a Kevin Durant. But putting him in New Orleans where there's no other guys for him to really like push on and really move them up mentally, I don't think it's the right fit for him playing in New Orleans. He should be on a more veteran team where he could be like a veteran guy, maybe not even play that much, but a guy you could throw him in for 3 minutes and he ain't going to completely blow the game for your team. That's the kind of player Kendrick Perkins is. He's not a guy you put on a rebuilding team. And New Orleans is, I guess you could call this rebuilding. They ain't got nothing to build on. They did draft Buddy Hield, who was one of the top scorer in the NCAA last year as shooting guard. I don't know what Buddy's going to do in the league, as I've said about every rookie coming into the NBA. You can't go off what they did in Summer League because some guys are bad in Summer League, play well in the season. Some guys dominate Summer League, then never do that again in the rest of their NBA careers. So we'll see what he does when he gets on the court. But I mean, it's better than nothing. Who's the second best player on this team? Second best player on the New Orleans roster, I guess, would be Drew Holiday. Didn't Drew Holiday make the All-Star game once? So I guess that's a positive, but he's not going to be there. So Tyreke Evans. Tyreke Evans is from outside of Philly. Shout out to everybody from the Philadelphia area. But Tyreke Evans got talent. I will say that about Tyreke Evans, but Tyreke Evans is not the guy you want playing with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, the talent that he is, you need a guard whose main objective is get the ball to Anthony Davis or do something that will facilitate Anthony Davis dominating. Anthony Davis should be averaging like between 25 and 28 points per game, 11, 12 rebounds. I think he blocks a lot of shots, 2-3 block shots per game. He should have the highest PER in the NBA. And he should be getting the ball. He should be getting the ball more than anybody. And looking at this roster, Anthony Davis should be getting the ball like, remember that year Kobe averaged 35? Anthony Davis should be getting the ball that much if he's healthy, as long as he can stay healthy. He does get hurt often. But if he's healthy, Anthony Davis should have the highest usage rate. I mean, he should be Russell Westbrook level usage rate. That's what Anthony Davis should be doing this year. He should be getting the ball that much. Now, what he does when he gets the ball is a different story. I think he'll be pretty damn good when he gets the ball. Anthony Davis should be getting the ball damn near every play on this team. And anytime he's not getting the ball, it's just because he needs a rest from getting the ball so much. Unless somebody else take a couple of shots, but then he got to be back. He's been in the NBA 4 years, or maybe this is his 4th year. I don't know if it's 4 years or it's his 4th year. Anthony Davis is a guy who really, this whole team should be based on everything he's doing. Yes, he's been in the NBA 4 years, so this is his 5th year in the league. It's time that something happens with Anthony Davis. When is his contract up? Maybe he needs to just get out of New Orleans. This organization, it's not even the team. The organization is just very trash. Last year, Anthony Davis averaged. The last 2 years, his numbers been pretty much identical. About 35, 36 minutes per game. He's shooting 50% from the floor. He did start shooting more threes last year, which brought his field goal percentage down a bit. And he made 32%, which is not great. He's not terrible. If he's going to shoot threes, he needs to make more than that. 7 times to the free throw line. He's averaging 10 rebounds a game. He's averaging 1 or 2 assists a game, 2 blocks per game, which is great, and 24 points per game. I mean, this guy is a superstar. Can we agree Anthony Davis is a superstar? These numbers, he's a superstar. Too bad he's on this terrible team. And I don't know how many times I'm going to say how terrible this team is, but it's really disappointing when a player who's this good is stuck on this kind of team. Hopefully, somebody please let me know what Anthony Davis's contract situation is. Did he already sign a max contract again? Did he re-up already? And when is he a free agent? When is he an unrestricted free agent? Not a restricted free agent, because any team would be a fool to not match any restricted offer he gets. But when is he a UFA? I want to know, because we need to get Anthony Davis on a team that is good so he can do his thing with some players who can actually play in an organization that has some idea of what they're doing, some plan, some type of plan that makes sense of what they're doing. Because this team, Tyreke Evans is the second best player on this team, but Jrue Holiday's not playing. Tyreke Evans will get you 17, 18 points a game. Tyreke Evans is going to shoot 1 or 2 or 3 times every game when he shouldn't be shooting. When he should be passing to Anthony Davis, he's going to shoot it, which hurts everybody. That's a loss for everybody, because he's probably not going to make the shot. Anthony Davis, that's also the shot that Anthony Davis did not get, is also not helping the team win probably. And even if he makes it, that's just going to embolden Tyreke Evans to shoot the ball again, which is giving us less Anthony Davis. So overall, we lose every time Tyreke Evans takes too many shots. And Tyreke Evans is a scoring guy. He's a scoring mentality player. So doesn't mean anything wrong with Tyreke Evans. Remember his rookie year, he averaged 25 and 5 when the Kings basically let him shoot the ball as much as he felt like it and just gave him the ball all game so he could get his stats, which is what happened. If you saw that season, that is exactly what happened. Tyreke Evans, he is who he is. He's 26 years old. He is the player that he is. He needs to pass the ball to Anthony Davis more. That's the bottom line. They got to get the ball to Anthony Davis. Anything that is not based on giving the ball to Anthony Davis for him to do more and do better is the wrong thing for the New Orleans team. They do have Tim Frazier, who went to Penn State. He's a guard. Tim Frazier was like the Rookie of the Year and the MVP in the D-League. Tim Frazier can go. He can play. But with Tyreke Evans and Jrue Holiday already on the roster and Norris Cole already on the roster, Tim Frazier, I'm not sure how much of an opportunity he's actually going to get. So maybe one of those guys has to go. Ideally, you trade Tyreke Evans and you get a more passing-oriented guard or a spot-up shooter, because Tyreke Evans is technically listed as a shooting guard, but he plays a lot of point guard. I would get someone who can hit shots from the outside, get the ball to that guy when Anthony Davis doesn't have the ball. The whole floor should be spread based on giving the ball. I could just call this whole video "Get the Ball to Anthony Davis." That's what this whole thing should be called. It ain't nothing else to say about this roster. There's nobody else on this roster who's even exciting. Terrence Jones. What happened to Terrence Jones? He was like a star in college, at least his freshman year, and then he stayed for his sophomore year. And I think he's had some injuries, but he hasn't really had a chance to do his thing in the league, or maybe he just hasn't done his thing, one or the other. But I don't even want to talk about this team no more. I ain't talking about the New Orleans Pelicans. Did I call them the Hornets? New Orleans Pelicans no more. It don't even matter what their name is. Pelicans, Hornets. We're not going to be saying their name too often this season unless we're talking about Anthony Davis. Who are we going to talk about next? I don't even want to talk about this team no more. After the New Orleans Pelicans, the next team, this will be a good one. The New York Knicks. That'll be fun. The New York Knicks. I think a lot of y'all want to talk about the Knicks. Everybody, that's it for the Pelicans. My favorite Pelicans, the Pelicans I see in Miami swooping down into the river to get some fish. That's better than anything the New Orleans Pelicans are going to do this year, unfortunately. Anthony Davis, let's get that scoring average up to about 27 points per game. Let's get about 12 rebounds. Curse Tyreke Evans out and say, give me the fucking ball, because that's what he needs to do. Tyreke Evans needs to give Anthony Davis the ball. Make the All-Star game, Anthony Davis. Don't get injured this year. Anthony Davis always plays about in the 60s in games. He needs to play 82 games a season. He keeps getting hurt. He needs to be durable and play 82 games. He's a max contract guy who's going to demand the ball. He needs to show up every day and stop getting hurt. Now, I know getting hurt is not something you do on purpose, but that's just one of the things you need from your superstar. You're a superstar. We need you every game, not 68 games, 82 games. Everybody, that's it for them. I'll see y'all tomorrow when we talk about the New York Knicks. So that'll be fun. Work on your games, right?